I'm Hani Ragab, the director of the Applied Security Institute of the Heriot-Watt University. It's a group where all the security researchers and practitioners work together to provide the best of our experience to both academics and industry. Today's talk is going to be delivered by Dr. Reem AlShammari. We're really delighted to have her today. So she is the team leader of information security, the chief information security officer of the Kuwait, the National Kuwait Oil Company. And she's going to talk to us about the COVID-19 response in the eyes of CISO with a mindset of CIO. Without further ado, we'll just let her start her talk. So thanks again, Dr. Reem, for being with us today. And thanks for the attendees as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hani, for giving me the opportunity to share such contribution to our academia society. And of course, it's a privilege to join your webinar sessions and share whatever I can have or my 10 cents on the aspect of COVID-19 response. Welcome all, and thank you so much for attending. We would like today to go through how would we respond from a cybersecurity perspective under the pandemic circumstances that COVID-19 has brought us, where we have witnessed unprecedented times and days in all aspects of our lives, whether it was within our social life, technology, business, economy, the whole impact of our human lives. So to start with that, being a CISO, I would like to share this, how we should be responding to this crisis from an eyes of a CISO. However, having that mindset of a CIO. My name is Dr. Reem AlShammari, and thank you, Doctor, for introducing myself. Very quickly, I would like just to give you a very quick brief on who I am. I'm team leader for information security, which is also equivalent to the CISO role in Kuwait Oil Company, one of the largest oil companies in Kuwait. I was also ranked for #1 in the IFSEC Global Total Top Influencers in Security and Fire 2019 under the cybersecurity category, which is a global award. I'm participating and presenting my country in various forums, and also leading the cybersecurity journey of the oil sector as being the leader of the cybersecurity committee of oil and gas sector within Kuwait and K sector as well. I've been also a woman empowerer and actually advocate, where we have initiated several initiatives. The one that I'm proud of most is being the co-founder and also a board member in the Women Cybersecurity Middle East group that has been initiated back in 2018 April, and we have now today more than 750 members, lady members, ranging from ladies in high schools who have passion towards cybersecurity, up to managers and directors and executives of ladies in cybersecurity. Of course, this is covering all the Middle East, whether it was residents within the Middle East or they are their nationalities is from Middle East as well. In the academia, I hold a PhD degree in operation management, and my bachelor degree is in computer engineering. So yes, I did mix between the two compounds of having the technical mindset and the business mindset as well. And that's why you can see my presentation reflects the very humble knowledge I have, and I've been contributing to our society where my passion is really resides most. I love sharing knowledge. I love connecting. I love supporting our communities, and that's why maybe today I'm delivering this webinar to provide this knowledge to our academia and to our future cyber leaders, inshallah. With no further ado, I would start our presentation about the COVID-19. So the major changes being witnessed through this post-COVID-19 was mainly divided into 4 main areas. I know for sure that there have been other changes, but from my own perspective, I have categorized them into mainly 3 points. First, the demand for remote working has rapidly increased, and we have all witnessed that and sensed that even in the education and e-learning system. Also, the digital transformation has been accelerated highly and very much clearly. Learning to do more with less, what you have, and of course, designing the future of work. What's our future? What's our future and our expectations from the future towards the next era. Having that said, I would like also to mention that there will be Q&A questions, so please do not hesitate from sharing this Q&A or your questions that can occur to your mind. I will be looking at them and addressing them even through my sessions and explanations. Okay, so when we talk about these 3 or these 4 items, mainly I prioritize them as per the importance and the priority, and also how much frequent it was. Working from home again or working remotely is taking the lead, and digital transformation, where we have witnessed many governmental entities saying it will take 5 years to deploy that action. It will take like 6 years to really connect all the governments within one platform, and so many unforeseen expectations became a reality within 3 months pandemic crisis. You can see many governments has jumped into digital platforms, many government has been working remotely, and many people has been in different and continuous burnouts due to the fatigue of Zoom, MS Teams, online meetings with virtual platforms, jumping from a virtual meeting to another, which really led them to a burnout, to a fatigue, and they just said, we just wish that we can go back to our normal working lives. But from my own perspective, I don't think this is going to happen soon. And even if we go back to our normal lives, this new norm of doing our business has been changed, and accordingly, we need also to change our perspectives. It's not only me who's saying that. Actually, the research that you can see here, the percentage, the statistics and figures from these researchers is really talking. And when I say walk the talk, the numbers is setting these facts. So 88%, so we're not saying half, we're not saying 25% within only 5 months. We're saying 88% of organization has adopted the remote working policy in response to COVID-19. 88% were reaching to 90%. So this is the majority, and this just tells you something. 81% of the organization have a crisis response team to respond to incidents when working remotely. I know we're cybersecurity, but when we talk about crisis response team, it does mean like a cyber incident. We're saying a crisis response team in resolving incidents. My mobile cam is not working. When we are trying to get onboarded to this platform for this webinar, we did find some difficulties in connecting to that. So the crisis response team, which is the great team of AIS here, Melita, Hani, and of course Khaja, and all of the great members here, they have helped me, and they really played the role of the crisis response team in getting and resolving all the issues that I have faced technically with my laptop to connect remotely. So similarly, other organizations has carried and built that crisis response team, and they actually made it, instead of having them from 9 to 5 p.m., they are now providing this service 24/7. And yes, these calls are being transferred to other calls where they can have an operating center that will work 24/7. 74% of organizations plan to continue working remotely even post COVID-19. And actually, I've been reading a couple of articles lately, enjoying my leave. I really enjoy even keeping track and read. My son is always saying, "Mom, you're on leave." I said, "I'm leave from work, but I will never have leave from learning and keeping up to date." So when I read that article, it showed me that many companies, and even giants in these technologies, they have already announced that they will not be going back to their offices physically. Many of them have already announced that they will be working remotely for the coming 1 year and 1.5 years, and some of them have very, bold decisions in saying, no, our employees will be working permanently from homes or remotely. We don't really need these offices to work. And we can see that major companies, giant in technologies, has already taken these brave decisions. And believe me, they wouldn't have taken these decisions without seeing actually the added value from working from remotely, or the capability of that, which really puts some burden on cybersecurity. Because when we have this huge percentages saying that the work norm has been changed, the whole approach has really been, transferred itself from a normal practice with a known perimeters that you can secure into a new norm where you have your perimeters is the whole global internet is making it very challenging, and you really emphasize the importance of being a cyber resilience, importance of having your business continuity capabilities up to your standards. 15% of the last statistics here shared also, 15% of organizations plan to suspend most of their long-term growth investment. This really shows you two things. This shows you that these investments that has been done on the long term are being revised now, because there has been great change in this technology, in this perspective of approaching business, and thus these long-term investments need to be revised. And also, of course, due to the pandemic impacts on economy, there had been lots and many huge cuttings and even cost optimization activities and exercises being done all over the globe. These are the links and references that you can refer to in order to read more even in depth to these researches. Okay, so what was our response when we had this working remotely, as we have seen it by many companies and organizations? The first thing is just to tell them these are the guidelines, and this is what I have witnessed flowing and flying everywhere between organization, communities, and even forums. Everyone was trying to build his own guideline where they need to define what can be done, what can't be done, what are the main basic things in order to be addressing it. So why do we need really to communicate that? Because in our environment, in our example, remote access to our information resources is restricted and regulated usually. So under that restricted and specific processes, we need to be in compliance with our KBC and the mother company security policies, industry best leading practices. So yes, coronavirus continues to spread throughout the world, but we are required to adapt, expand, and capitalize on our existing communication and collaboration by enabling our employees to working remotely. Yet, with that being known, we need to ease our information security controls, but not really completely seize them, because seizing them will introduce us to a huge risks and probability of having more impactful incidents, while easing them will enable us to continue our operations and yet be at a very reasonable security posture. So even with these conditions, we can still maintain our operations, we can still maintain our continuity of our productivity and performance within the best practices being addressed and followed. So when we do this remote working and when we communicate these guidelines, we need to ask ourselves three main questions. To whom we should address these communication guidelines? To our employees, whom always being seen, and not only our employees, of course, we have our contractors, our partners, our vendors, and even the third party supply chain, let's say, partners or even contractors. We need to address them that has been always seen as the weakest link. The human factor is always seen as a weakest link in our cybersecurity framework. But in my own perspective, and I always would like to highlight what I ever present is always from my own perspective. It does not represent neither my corporate or even the communities and that I represent them. So from my own perspective, I can see that human factor can be seen as our strongest link. Once we invest in them properly, once we raise their awareness to a layer where they become our cybersecurity champions, our cybersecurity advocates, our soldiers on the field. At these very far lines that we don't have visibility, we have a cybersecurity champion who is very much aware and alerted and will be our ears and eyes where machines and technology will not be serving us. And we have witnessed that in our culture, within our companies. We have witnessed that raising this awareness, doing that investment in humans is always worth it. And also how we can communicate these guidelines. We communicate them through the policies, processes, the contract clauses, the email communication to all stakeholders, advising them of these guidelines, online training, as we said, and sessions, webinars, and of course, through the social media platforms and campaigns that we can do them. When we do that, of course, during the physical presence is a little bit challenging due to the full curfew, partial curfew, all of that. But we are addressing them during the return back to work, which has been happening very recently. Okay. When we said there has been one of the actually impacts that we, as precaution or as an action, we said we need to deploy our guidelines. We need to raise the awareness and educate our users in order for us to tackle these risks. However, another challenge is coming to the picture during COVID-19 is the financial impact on business. And you can see that during the impactful economic, the economy has witnessed from the COVID-19 challenges, many companies have said that we need to cut our budget. We need to shuffle all the plans to next years or next couple of years. So people or companies has been a little bit on a panic situation at the beginning period, but this shouldn't be the case. I can understand that this is an unprecedented situation, yes. Yet we need always to be very much careful when we start cutting budget. We need to work with the mindset of not cutting costs. We need to optimize costs. This wonderful, picture, I loved it so much, where it tells us really the difference between doing the same thing. You know, you're saving cost at the end, eventually between both practices, but either you do it with a very awful way where you end up with this painting on your left hand, or you end up with a very wonderful exercise called cost optimization, where you end up with a wonderful outcome of having, yes, your cost is being optimized, you have savings, but it did not impact your business performance or your operations or even your continuity of your performance and your, let's say, economy outcomes as well. So it's our call to do it or to play it. Either way, we need to decide which is the most efficient way, because efficiency is the key word here. We can cut budgets, yes, we can do it very nicely, very quickly, but the outcomes will be impactful on our even on the long term. However, when we do a very efficient cost optimization by focusing on how we can optimize, sometimes you need to spend investment at this very challenging stage. How can you, and the question will be even raised, how we can spend money if we are under budget cuttings? I would say, or argue saying, or even explaining saying, these optimization will require us to invest now. So on the long term, these investments will be really helping us, whether it was to make us more secure, or even to enable us injecting digital transformation into our business, and even weave that into our fabric, where we will be able to address on the long term a more optimized performance, a more efficiency embedded within our operations, which will lead, of course, to our saving in time and efforts and cost. So when we talk about cybersecurity implications of COVID-19, there will be always a short term and there will be always a long term. The short term that has been agreed by many cybersecurity colleagues in my network, professionals, SMEs, they said the cybersecurity implications of COVID-19 is mainly the remote working, whether it was about staffing, availability, disruption, lack of user, of awareness, all of that is really the challenges now. Expediting technology implementations, where we are now no longer talking about one technology. We can see integration between various technologies is happening on the run and without even sometimes a proper planning. This is another challenge or implications. Social engineering has been peaking, and I will share with you some statistics supporting that. And of course, relaxing the risk tolerance for third parties. I have been to some very rich roundtable sessions discussing this, and one of the guests shared with me their insights, saying that the moment we have relaxed our risk tolerance with our third parties, we knew, and she knew as a CISO, that her risk probability has just increased by far, because relaxing will mean that your risk proportion will be increasing, because your threat vector will be and threat landscape will be even more increasing proportionally to these relaxing tolerance. So we need to do that balance, and we need to be very much aware. And when we do that relaxing of policies, we need to be very much aware that we are accepting that risk, and yet we're trying to mitigate this risk with whatever measures we can. This is on the short term. The long term, as we have said, that there are latent threats and reduced, of course, relocated spending, as we have showed that paragraph earlier. There's layoffs, and we have seen lots of sad stories of employees being laid off, and these disgruntled employees sharing or leaking information from these companies that they have been recently laid off, where the insider threat, and we know that there are different threats that a company is facing, whether it was from the outsider threat or insider threat. So when we have this type of layoffs that we have witnessed very recently and hugely going through many companies around the world, you have this insider threat increasing by far, because these employees leaving the company and these under challenging situation and being laid off, we do have this threat very much probably to happen, and these, let's say, disgruntled employees can do a very serious cyber impact that can impact the reputation or even the performance of this company. Okay, when we said about the social engineering and the fact that they are focusing on our human factors, I know that humans can be our weakest, but I always say they are our strongest once we do the right investment in them. However, these are the statistics showing that from Jan, the domains related to COVID-19 being created per day, from Jan it was normal, then it was peaking in February, and up to March it was reaching to 498 domains per day. And this just shows you that the adversaries, okay, and the cyber criminals are making best of these opportunities, you know, to utilize that weakness they have identified within the humans, and by playing social engineering and phishing campaigns, utilizing these fake domains under the COVID-19. Because we know in our culture and our societies, during this COVID-19, everyone tried to become a doctor. Everyone has Googled what the impacts of COVID-19, what's the recent statistics, what's the impact, or how the other countries doing. So much Googling is happening at the background from normal people. And this is where the COVID-19 fake domains come to the picture, very handy, where these COVID-19 fake domains are being created to phish our users or our humans. Another statistics, and we always say that facts does not lie. So another statistic says that the phishing sites created per month, you can see the number jumping from 149,000 up to 520,000 within just 2 months. I believe by now these numbers are even doubling, and this is just due to these threat actors and adversaries making best of actually targeting our human factor, our human curiosity, where people will always look at reading facts from websites. And that's why when we always initiate our companies, our campaigns and our awareness sessions, we always advise them to go to those trusted sites, to those official sites that being shared in the media, whether it was within the government media or it was even the local media channels, social media. We always go with the very much authorized and legitimate websites to avoid having our humans or our society as false victims in these phishing campaigns. So, in order for us as cybersecurity teams, again, we do know that our threat vector has extended. It's no longer protecting our firewalls, and you still have your operations within your company being protected and secured within your perimeter of your firewalls or around. No. Now our operation as companies around the world has exceeded to people at their homes, where they are remotely working, where they are remotely connecting to these networks and to these business platforms. Yes, our perimeter has extended to their homes, and for that we need to address many aspects. I call them the 6 areas where I have identified a couple of them, and I believe there are many other areas, but from my own perspective, these are the 6 main areas where we need to tackle it, we need to look at it, and try our best to secure it as much as possible. The first thing that I'm always in passion about is security by design. It will be always best and to change that mindset. Where we say, when we see our people and even our IT or project managers saying, yeah, we can inject security assessment at the end of our launching or just before our implementation. During the test, we can inject our security to go through and validate this project. This is no longer the case. The case should be changed as well when we change our mindset, where we inject security by the design itself at the very initial stages. This is something what we all as CISOs, as cybersecurity teams face in all of our companies, being bypassed at the very initial stages and only involved at the final stages, where the cost really to embed security controls, even if they were very much basic, much higher cost rather than if we were involved at the initial stages, and that design of the project or the solution would have incorporated the security controls at the beginning, the cost will not be that impactful. And this is why we need to change this perspective where we have security by design. One of my visits, or actually trips, I saw this ad, and I'm not actually promoting or marketing for DXC technology, but their ads really captured me. It says thrive safely. You can go to your theme parks, you can have all the adventure, but you need to do it safely. So weave your security into the fabric of your digital transformation. This is the mindset. And actually, ever since I've seen that statement a couple of years ago, I have tried my best to incorporate it into our operations, where our mindset should be into weaving the cybersecurity language, the cybersecurity operations, the cybersecurity life into this fabric of digital transformation, so we can really make it and as transparent as possible. And I really loved when I heard that term of having that invisible shield of cybersecurity, where our users really does not feel that cybersecurity controls blocking them or becoming a barrier from them from actually doing their work. They can always become as enabler, where we make it as transparent, an invisible shield to protect them, yet not very much seen or sensed. This is one of the aspects. Another aspect is to have the cyber hygiene, as we have mentioned over and over. This is number two for me. One of the most important things is to work on our cybersecurity capabilities, working on eliminating the weakest link by raising the awareness and creating those cybersecurity champions. Putting the burden on your cybersecurity team is not fair. And I'm not saying that because I'm a CISO. I'm saying that because I'm a part of an organization. And when we are in an organization, we are all accountable for securing our organization or our enterprise. So information security is everybody's responsibility. It should not ever be only the IT responsibility or the cybersecurity responsibility or even the SOC responsibility. No, it should be everybody's responsibility. Everyone who's working from home, everyone who's even having that Wi-Fi connected in the airport, he should be very much aware that he is responsible and accountable for securing his company enterprise when he starts his operations. And for that, he should be that cyber aware. You always need that cyber hygiene factor to build your cyber aware culture in your organization. When everyone becomes your cybersecurity champion, everyone starts having that commitment towards securing their enterprises. Automation. So utilizing the automation and technology, not only from a CISO perspective or even a CIO perspective, actually utilizing technology into automating some of the daily operations and security will very much help you as a CISO or even a cybersecurity SME in making best of utilizing your cybersecurity team as a human's times. So you can automate using the existing or even new technologies to address the daily operations and utilize the human mindset, the genius thinking that our humans really hold within their great brains to address a very better and more sophisticated issues, rather than do a daily operation and waste their efforts and times for something that an automation can resolve. Another third, of course, aspect or arm is the counterintelligence. Knowing that we need to build our counterintelligence of having the threat intelligence sharing, having the forum built between different networks, building that sharing unity and having that mindset of stronger together will really build that counter threat intelligence, being able to be one step ahead of your adversary through having these heads up of warnings from your colleagues, from your peers, from your industry, even peers, or even your neighbors. And this will never happen if you run solo. You always need to create that forum, create that community where sharing threat intelligence will always be your main capability to actually have this threat intelligence at a very better and mature stage. Moving to the recoverability, I believe, as we have mentioned, resilience and cybersecurity resilience and business continuity, we need also to build our recovering and business continuity capabilities by making sure that the exercises for having a continuous plans to test our recovery procedures, to test our business continuity processes are really intact and are not very much old or even dusty. A couple of days ago, I have read, and it was very overwhelming to me to read that there has been a cybersecurity drill on a nation-wide done at the United States, where infrastructure really entities have collaborated together in running a wonderful exercise. We're tackling different scenarios, of course, but yet they have exercised how within these very much likely scenarios, their capabilities from recovery, from business continuity, and from cyber resilience. How resilient are we? Because it's always the question is not, will I be ever attacked? Because no matter how much secure you are, there is always a possibility of being compromised. There is always a possibility of being penetrated due to the human factor we have. If you want 100% secure enterprise, then you should just close it from everything around it. And this means zero functionality and zero people. And you cannot have that. You need people, you need functionality, and you need operations. So yes, you always have that risk factor. And for that, you need to accommodate with that. So having that said, you need always to build that resilience and be able to recover and be able to be efficiently controlling the damage, to be able to control that impact and get business into operations and into action even after having that impact or compromise. This is what really defines you as a cyber resilience organization, or yet at a firefighting mode. You need really to tackle and balance both options and both approaches actually to create the preparedness as an organization towards these threats, towards these possibility of attacks. Self-regulation, again, as we have said, that we need also to have these third-party vendors relationship, to have these supply chains also, all of them being regulated through a set of procedures and controls where we all abide to, because again, it's a continuous chain, whether it was starting from the company itself or even being compromised, and we have seen that a lot through their third-party suppliers or through the supply chain. So it's a cumulative interaction and cumulative support and collaborative efforts to secure each other. Again, stronger together is our key answer. Okay, so back to the CIO. We have talked CISO or CISO language so much. In my own perspective, for me as a CISO, partnership with my CIO is a must. However, there are some challenges when you have the two hats and you address each hat requirements. You will see that CIO has his own roles and responsibility, his own target that he needs really to address, and priorities, and CISO have the same. So we have different focus areas. This is one of the main challenges towards the partnership in mitigating the risk. Both need to work together, yes, to mitigate the risk, and it's a collaborative exercise and a collaborative effort between the two. Yet there are challenges. What are the main challenges in this partnership? First, as we said, they have different focus areas. CIO would focus on running and optimizing the operations, where CISO's focus will be on reducing these risks on new technologies. And we can actually mitigate that challenge, which will be addressed in the following slides. The other challenge here is also to have the lack of having a shared responsibility, lack of understanding, and building that shared responsibility between the two is really creating this challenge. There's no shared responsibility in many organizations. Lack of collaboration and communication. I would say that will become number 2, actually, after the different focus areas, because it always goes back to the communication. We need to communicate better. We need to understand the other's perspectives. So the CISO needs to understand the CIO perspective and his worries and his concerns. And also the CIO needs to understand the CISO's perspective and concerns and try to communicate that clearly, to put on the table all their concerns and seek how they can collaboratively again work and address these concerns together with the one team spirit. Of course, at the end, or the fourth main challenge from my own perspective, is the budgetary conflicts, where recently or due to the COVID-19, there will be cuttings and many maybe projects will be cut from this budget, and there will be conflicts, which should be removed and which should be, minimized or even optimized. Here, the conflict will be very much shown to the service if the security budget is under the IT budget, because then at this stage, the CIO will have the pressure of saying, where should I balance more? Should I be investing in technology, or should I also invest in security? And this is where the conflict of budget happens, and this should not be the, again, we'll address that in the coming slides, but a very quick tip, you should have them separated to avoid this conflict of witnessing this surfacing in your environment. I took this metaphor during, again, one of my roundtable discussions, and I have to tell you that you need to get into roundtable sessions, because even if you are running or moderating that roundtable discussion and you think you're contributing to this society, the amount of knowledge the audience is contributing back to you is much, much overwhelming. So these two pictures is actually, I have taken them from these discussions, where one of the guests have actually give this metaphor of saying the CISO and the CIO play these roles. I believe it will be a little bit clearer of which one playing what. All of them is serving the customer. So if you are going to a restaurant, or if you are a human being, you do have a chef that would love to cook for you different kind of recipes, with all the flavors he can use, or even increasing the sugar, put more fat into that will increase the flavor and all of that, while your nutrition will be very much focused on your health. Will be telling you, Dr. Hani, do not eat this plate of, let's say, quzi or biryani, because it has so much spicy and you have issues with your health. You cannot take that much spicy. The chef would love to see you enjoying the meals. You love biryani, you love quzi, you love, machboos and all of that, and your favorite dishes. I'm saying these type of dishes because it's very much well known in our Gulf culture. So having these being served by your chef, your nutrition would also love to see you enjoying, but enjoying it in a healthy way. So the nutrition will be our CISO. He will be always much focused on running your operations fine, you can run it, but let's run it in a secure manner. However, the chef would love to give you, as we sometimes say, the sun in one hand and the moon in the other hand. He would love to see you playing with technology all over, where you can have your operations being optimized to the peak. But again, you will always have to look at from the perspective of these two mindsets combined, where you can have these wonderful, delicious plates. Let's say, example, biryani. Someone say, why in the world do I hear word biryani in a CISO session? We would have that biryani as dish being cooked in a very healthy manner, where you can still enjoy that dish with low fat, healthy ingredients there, and all of them balancing and fulfilling the requirements raised by your nutrition, and still the chef can still make that wonderful and delicious biryani dish for you. So if we tackle it into running it in a different language, in a business language, this is how we should tackle it. Addressing the both mindset with a balanced approach. So how would a CISO should partner with to maximize the benefits of the organization? We as CISOs should always look with the mindset of strategists, We should always look at their needs as advisors. We always should be their right-hand advisors. We are the technologists, so yes, we are playing that role as well. We're being the SME for our CIOs, and again, the guardian. I'm not putting pressure on our cybersecurity professionals that they need to play all of these roles together, but since being a CISO is not really something we brag about, it's something that we live with day and night, and many moments of our lives we know that it's a big burden that takes away our peace of mind, or even have a decent 7 hours sleep due to this burden of and requirement to play all these roles together to fulfill this requirement role, or to even meet these expectations that you are playing. Being a successful CISO means that you need to play all of these roles at the same time in a very smart way. Remember, you don't have always to work harder. You need only to do it smarter. Reaching to the last slide, and sorry for taking it too long. This is the tips, the takeaways. Usually, and I will summarize this takeaways into 3 main takeaways in the final slide coming after this one. But this is the very, tips, high-level tips, how we can really have that successful partnership between our CISOs and CIOs, how they should stop fighting and should start shaking their hands towards the benefit of the organization. First, they need to build trust. I've witnessed and I have sensed and I have seen what does trust do to our business, to our operations, to our even relationships within our network of community, or even our operations, our enterprise and companies. Building that trust between you and your CIO as a CISO will always give open doors, actually, and do magic. Sometimes they say we're in security and cybersecurity, we don't do magic, we do actions. I said, yes, you can still do actions with a magical impact. It can go beyond your expectations. It can go always above and beyond. And my team would know that term of above and beyond, and always and forever, where we always go beyond our expectations by doing it smartly. The other second aspect of that is to have a strategic planning jointly, not to have our different plans, the 5 years ahead plan, the 10 years ahead plan being done independently. We should have a joint strategic planning where both CIO and CISO sit on the same table and draft their strategic planning for these future plans together and jointly. Understand each other's job and respect that. Accept their mindset and respect it as well. There's never right or wrong. It's just about understanding the other's perspective and be open to that understanding. Stop being defensive and defending your own perspective. Instead of wasting that energy in defending that, try to understand where the other person is coming from. And in this aspect, it's our CIO. Where is he coming from? What's his concern? How can I tackle that concern from my cybersecurity and balance both eventually? The fourth one is to set independent and security budgets, as I have said, to kill that conflict and to avoid putting the CIO into that corner, which you want really to run or to approve the security budget for that project or the technology budget for that project. Don't put him in that corner. Just put that security budget independent in order for him to be very much away from that conflict of interest. Sense of urgency. Both parties should understand the urgency of having operations running, and both should understand the urgency of witnessing a cybersecurity threat or even an incident. Finally, sharing responsibility, where both will collaborate and build towards this shared responsibility in securing the organization. Remember the metaphor of the chef and the nutrition. Both objectives is to satisfy the customer, to make him happy, whether it was from a health perspective or from a meal perspective. So we can have both a satisfaction if we can work together in a collaborative outcome where we can have a healthy, operational, performing, secure enterprise. With this, I reach to finalize and wrap up my presentation with 3 main takeaways. My favorite line that I've been seeing, I think it's been now 3 years almost, but still in my mind every day. Weave your security into your digital transformation fabric. Weave it. And we just have that statement at the background of your mind and just look into it. I mean, just think it through. Being a visionary person is always giving me this 3D effect, and I can really see that statement in a 3D vision. Be agile and adapt to change. We should not be the showstoppers. We should be the business enablers. Let's avoid saying no as NO and start understanding and start knowing the no, KNOW. And this is one of the things that I have also taken from one of the takeaways that Hamid has shared in one of his sessions, which I highly appreciate. Yes, we need to stop the NO and start focusing on the KNOW, which is the know, the knowledge. Finally, communicating and building partnership. Not only, I mean, I know in this presentation we're tackling the CIO, but not only building partnership with your CIO. You need, as a cybersecurity, to build partnership with your audience, with your employees, with your third-party vendors, with your risk, with your legal, with your audit, with everyone, with your end users, with your business asset owners. All of them, you need to take their concerns, you need to talk their language, and you need to stop talking cybersecurity language to our business users, and only stopping talking that language and talk their language is the only way to build their partnership. They need to understand you. And in order for them to understand you and build that partnership with you, you need to start talking their language. With that, I hope I have met your expectations from this session. And I thank Dr. Hani, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to address them.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reem, for the entertaining talk and the spooky information about my food preferences. You scared me here. I think I'll need to install a fresh Windows now. I don't know how you got that information. So it was really entertaining. So our participants can ask questions in the chat, or if they wish to ask questions using audio, let us know. Meanwhile, I don't know if it's a question or just a thought. Like, now I'm thinking about this contradiction and with the COVID situation. So there is an increase in security threats, obviously, both in the long and short terms, as you showed in your slides. But at the same time, due to the financial situation, etc., and businesses going down mostly, except the ones who do online orders and stuff like that. So most businesses are going down, losing money. So at the same time, we need to increase the budget, to increase the security, to improve the security posture, and at the same time, you are losing money and cutting the budget of the security team. So what do you think this is going to lead us to? Because maybe a naive thought is that it's just going to cause a security disaster with many companies forced to go online while keeping the same level or even less protection.
Yeah, this is a very, very bad point. Before. And actually, one of the Gartner sessions I have attended around the cost optimization, they had this slide where they said in IT they can, you can cut in this and that and all of that, but there was like, we can say a taboo or a red line where you cannot touch it, and that red line really protected this cybersecurity capabilities that need not to be touched during these cuttings, because you still need to run your operations. You still need to, for sure, as we have witnessed from the numbers, you will still need to run them remotely for some time. So you need to build these capabilities to secure these operations. Failing to build these cybersecurity capabilities in securing your remote operations and even working from home and all of that will actually lead to even a high and bigger impact. We have seen just recently how 2 days ago, actually, I've seen a news that the Canadian government entities has been shut down due to an impact of cybersecurity attack or compromise. So you need always, Dr. Yani, to do the balance, and you say, yes, these are long-term capabilities, which today I do not need them. And actually, this is what I have done with my team. We have reshuffled our priorities, where we have now a more prioritized projects and initiatives that will tackle our new introduced environment, which really wasn't on our top list today. But due to the new norm of work that has been introduced amid the pandemic, we had did the shuffling, and yes, we have shuffled some of the projects there for our long-term capabilities, but yet we have did the shuffling to prioritize the capabilities that we needed today up and running to be built to enable us to do our operations securely. So we need to do that balance. We need to do it very smartly, and we really don't want to end up with that picture where I have showed earlier, that we need really not to end up with the picture of the horse and the donkey as it's been shown here. We really want to do that optimization and cut our budgets, but not end up with a very ugly graph of that really does not reflect what's the source or what's the soul or the theme of our operations and our especially for those entities related to a governmental sector or critical infrastructure sectors, where they run operations that will impact even our people's lives. We talk about electricity ministries, we talk about oil production, we talk about energy, and all of these utilities that really impact our people's lives is really embedded within cybersecurity fences. And if not being tackled, these cybersecurity capabilities and addressing them with doing the right investment, not overdo it, just do the right investment, where you invest in automation, where you invest in building the capabilities. Having that right balance will really make you, being off the hook from, wasting money or even deploying money in a time where people are cutting. Yes, I'm cutting, but I'm maintaining where it's crucial to maintain that, to at least avoid you from having an extra cost where you can have an attack, and for that you need to pay even double or 10 times the cost that you would have done it in investing, or you have been investing it, or you have utilized that cost in investing into that security capability that might prevented that cost impact or tackled that impact or loss of cost on that company if that cybersecurity capability were not addressed or were not tackled.
Thank you very much. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. By the way, do you think as well that as an impact of the COVID, there will be within the the security budget itself? Do you think there would be some sort of reallocation of some of the budget items going to new types of things, new types of activities, or just changing the balance instead of, I don't know, having 30% something, 70% something else? It becomes a different split? Or is it like the security team running using the same rules? Probably there will be no extra rules maybe, but for example, you have more security engineers, more IT, more of IT support rules within security than before, because you need to support more people going online or joining remotely the work and things like that. So which makes the budget of security gets allocated in a different way than it used to be. Does this make sense? For some reason, I cannot hear you, Dr. Reem.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yes, excellent. Yes. So I was saying, it will be both at the same time. So the numbers will be changing from distributing the percentage. This will be changing, and at the same time, you will be introducing new tools. You will be introducing new technologies and even new roles. Even recently, the cyber resilient role is now introduced very heavily, and I have heard even in Dubai recently I've seen cybersecurity minister that has been announced to be placed in Dubai. That's showing that how much cybersecurity roles is now important and should be tackled. So introducing new roles, yes, very much likely. Introducing a new era of technologies, we're seeing that already happening, and for that a new new areas of knowledge to secure these technologies, which is keep emerging. I mean, IoT by itself is a different zone where we can talk endlessly about the cybersecurity approaches and the concept and all of that. But are we introducing a new, let's say, roles? Yes, every day. Are we introducing different budgets? Sometimes, as I said, we have injected into our roadmap new projects, and we have shuffled some projects to a later because that, let's say, capability is no longer required within the new norm, yet another capability is required. So we're adapting. We're following actually the number 2 takeaway. We are being agile and addressing the business, and this is how we should play it as cybersecurity, Dr. Hani. If you are not agiling and if you stick to your old school, no, I have that 5 years capabilities plan roadmap, and I need to stick to it. You're not being the right cybersecurity security officer that your company is expecting you to be. So you need to be agile and you need to adapt to that change, which we are seeing very rapidly happening recently with this emerging technologies. I mean, who would ever imagine that schools would run on an online platform within a couple of months? This for us was, a dream. Who would imagine that our kids will do their homeworks and sit in front of Zoom, seeing their colleagues and their, teacher through Zoom and doing their homeworks? It just happened, and this is what we as cybersecurity need to adapt and need to change, adapt to that change as well.
Yeah, true. Okay, I'm wondering if we have. Oh yeah, we have a question here from BH. So how do you find the corporate political balance between CIO and CISO? He's talking about pressure of enabling functionality on the CIO versus need to maintain security posture for the CISO.
Okay, a very wonderful question, and I think this slides address the answer here. Actually, the word political, for me, I'm still figuring it out. Okay, I'm not. I'm still a student in learning this politics at work, and I will never stop learning that. And for me, mashallah, it's a wonderful field that people will be very much creative in creating different politics, where you need to be aware of that. You don't need to play politics, but you need to be very much aware of that and avoid, making them or avoid their traps, where you can have your cybersecurity operations be trapped in these political conflicts. And I believe the one who has asked question have seen or even have experienced this political environment conflicts, as I have witnessed it and experienced it at different situations from different aspects and different environments, not only within my company. I'm working in different forums, I'm working in different cybersecurity communities, and I have witnessed this political. So these 6 takeaways shown here in the slides, to me, from my own perspective and my humble experience, I have seen that if we really tackle and put time and effort into addressing these 6 tips, I believe we will be not really, we cannot remove the politics. This is a no situation. You cannot, this is embedded even in everything. I mean, you have politics with your kids. They start negotiating with you and everything, and you know they are pulling your strings, and they are pulling it very nicely in a very political way. So these new generations is already playing that language of politics, and you need to understand that it will always be there between CISO and CIO. However, these 6 takeaways or even tips will very much help to build that partnership, will maximize the outcomes of this partnership by tackling these 6 together, addressing them very wisely, addressing them very smartly, and it will take from you some time. Allah, God did not create world within one day, although He can, but He created within 7 days to teach humans patience. So we cannot expect our CIOs to change their mindset. We cannot expect change to change within 1 day or even 1 month or even 6 months. I've been working this 6 months. Why nothing is changing? Be patient. The change will be tackled if you put your right efforts in that, if you do it in a smart way. But that impact, once it happens, it will stay for a long time. So you need to do it properly and smartly to get that long-term impact. I hope I have addressed the one who asked the question in a good answer, with a good answer.
Yeah, it's a very good question indeed, and excellent answer to it.
Thank
you. So wondering if you have more questions. Otherwise, in between, so you are the co-founder of the Women in Cybersecurity Middle East, correct?
Yes, Women in Cybersecurity Middle East group. We were formed back in April 2018, and we were mainly 8 co-founders. And today we have more than 750. I think we have even reached more than 780 lady members, ranging from rising stars, students and high school, even college students who love and have a passion towards cybersecurity. We're also trying to recruit even younger generations. I'm trying to recruit my kids. Still not working out, but I hope that we are trying to attract more young generation, because they do have the potentials, up to managing directors and executives in cybersecurity. And our ladies is covering from whether they were in Middle Eastern nationalities or even Middle Eastern residents. So the ladies who are residents within the Middle East and they take cybersecurity as a profession, or even have that passion towards cybersecurity, these are our members. We do have different tracks to tackle and to empower. Our main objective is to empower women and try to close the gap. We know that talent is being witnessed with very minimum, or the whole community of cybersecurity is witnessing a huge shortage in talent, and the women can play part in minimizing, not closing, minimizing that gap. And of course, we have seen the capabilities that women have really shown and the cybersecurity role they are playing, and they have shown their efficiencies. So we're trying our best to attract more ladies, to guide them through that. We have mentorships tracks, we have threat intelligence sharing tracks, we have online sessions where we have hosted many of the SMEs, global influencers, or even local and regional SMEs and professionals. One of our guests were also very great colleagues and a student in AIS, which is Mr. Hamid Bijou. So we are trying to build that community. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we have up and running affiliates in the Middle East countries, which are very active. All our Gulf countries, we have running affiliates. We have Algeria, Jordan, Egypt, all of that.
Do you have a chapter in I don't know how you call it, chapter, section, or whatever,
Affiliate. We have
society
affiliate.
in Emirates?
Yes, of course. Yes, actually, our formulation, the idea of formulating our women's cybersecurity came from us being gathered in one of a roundtable sessions. We had ladies, we had the 8 ladies in one table, and they were from everywhere. It was in the Middle East Security Conference and Awards, MISA, that was organized by Mr. Ahmed Beik. And one of these sessions about women, we had like this 8 ladies gathering from different countries, and we thought, why don't we build a community? Why don't we have this community where we can build our capabilities and start empowering other ladies? And from that day, actually, within in that conference in Dubai, we have taken that idea from 8 ladies, and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, grow it to more than 780 ladies. So yes, the answer is yes, we do have affiliate in UAE.
Perfect. So it would be great then if you could share the details of that affiliate
Yes.
with us, so I can share it with our students.
Sure.
We have BSc degree in cybersecurity and MSc, etc. So many of them would definitely be interested in joining the society.
It will be a huge honor really to have more ladies where we can empower, and they can also contribute and support other ladies in the field. Thank you so much, Dr. Hani.
Thank you. Nizam, could you please check the chat quickly? And we'll see if there are more, the other chat. Yeah.
I'm checking the chat. There is no query as such related to the recruitment.
Yeah, okay. I'm talking about the other chat. But thanks, thanks, Nizam. Okay, so I think that's it for this talk, and thank you very much again, Dr. Reem. It was a pleasure having you with us today. I really enjoyed this talk, and yeah, I hope to have you to keep in touch with you and have further collaborations in the future. And I hope that Adobe Connect did not really bother you. I will have an email to send you later on about that. But yeah, it was a real pleasure to have you with us today.
Mashkoor, thank you so much, Dr. Hani, and it's really a privilege and my pleasure to contribute and to share this knowledge. It's been really great, and I hope that all the audience has really some takeaways to come out from this session. And again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to our society. Yatik al-afia, and thanks to all the team behind you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks to all the participants, colleagues, and the team who were with us today. We will have another talk. Actually, it's a series of talks, so we'll have other talks, and the first of them is in September. Stay in touch, and you will hear about the next talk. And I wish you all the best.